Hi, my name is Jasmine and I'm going to share with you about Zion's Gate, King David's tomb, and the Last Supper room. First of all, let's tackle about Zion's Gate. Zion's Gate is one of the gate entrances in the Jerusalem Old City walls. The walls were built in 1540 under Turkish leader Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent and surrounded the 1-kilometer-old city. There are 8 gateways. The Golden Gate remains closed. Zion Gate is on the southwestern corner of the Old City and gives direct access from Mount Zion to the Old City's Armenian and Jewish quarter. The Zion Gate is L-shaped. You enter through the gateway, make a 90-degree turn under the stone archway, and exit the gateway. This shape was chosen to increase security. The gate has a second floor equipped with defensive installations, including a balcony above the entrance where boiling oil could be poured on the attacking enemy. Adjacent to the entrance is a small window in the stone wall with an arrow slit where guards could safely aim at their attackers. Where did Zion Gate get its name? The Zion Gate is named after Mount Zion, which is directly outside the city walls adjacent to the gate. In Arabic, the gate is called Bab el-Nebi Daud, or Gate of the Prophet David. This is probably because King David is buried on Mount Zion. The gate is also called Bab Hart el-Yahud, or Gate of the Jews, perhaps because it leads to the Jewish quarter. The Wounded Gate. The gate is also called the Wounded Gate as it bears the scars of bullet holes from the 1948 Israeli War of Independence. At the time, Arab forces held the Old City's Jewish quarter under siege. Jewish forces attacked the Jordanian troops guarding the Zion Gate, and in the exchange of fire, hundreds of bullets left pockmarks in the stone wall around the gate. Although the Jewish fighters succeeded in taking the Jewish quarter, their gain couldn't be held and they were forced to retreat, leaving Jordan to occupy the Old City from 1947 to 1948, when the city was retaken by Israel. For the duration of the Jordanian rule, the Zion Gate remained closed. Archaeological excavations stretch on its outer side. Nearby, there is also the cenacle and the remains of the house of Caiaphas. The name of Gate of David was given to it because of the tradition according to which the grave of David was to be located under the upper room. Bullet marks are visible on the gate. They come from the Israeli War of Independence in 1948 and the Six-Day War in 1967. Zion Gate was built in July 1540 west of the location of the medieval gate, which was a direct continuation of the Street of the Jews, also known as the Cardo. 6 and 3 towers were erected in the southern segment of the wall, 4 of them situated in the Mount Zion section. In the second half of the 19th century, a leper colony, slaughterhouse, and livestock market were situated in the vicinity of Zion Gate. Towards the end of the 19th century, shops were built along the length of the southern wall, which were torn down during the British Mandate. On May 13, 1948, as the British Army withdrew from Jerusalem, a major from the Suffolk Regiment presented Mordecai Weingarten with a key for the Zion Gate. In 2008, restoration work was carried out on the gate, marking 468th birthday. According to Psalms 87, 1 and 2, the Psalm of the sons of Korah, a song. He has founded his city on the hollow mountains. The Lord loves the gates of Zion more than all the dwellings of Jacob. Glorious things are described to you, O city of God. Revelation 29. And they marched across the broad expanse of the earth and surrounded the camp of the saints and the beloved city, but first came down the fire from heaven and consumed them. Psalms 78:68. But he chose the tribe of Judah, Mount Zion, which he loved. Psalms 122:2. Our feet are standing in your gates, O Jerusalem. The Lord loves the gate of Zion more than all the dwellings of Jacob. For the Lord has chosen Zion, he had desired for his habitation. Let's gonna tackle now about David's tomb. King David's tomb is a site considered by some to be the burial place of biblical King David of Israel. According to a Christian, Jewish, and Muslim tradition, beginning in the 9th or 12th century, some 2 millennia after the traditional time of David, the majority of historians and archaeologists do not consider the site to be the actual resting place of King David. It is located on Mount Zion in Jerusalem near the early 20th century Abbey of the Dormition. The tomb is thought to be situated in what once was a ground floor corner of the Byzantine Hagia Zion, or alternatively, according to a minority theory proposed by Pinkerfield Bagatti, it's a late Roman-era synagogue. The building is now administered by the Diaspora Yeshiva, a Jewish seminary group. Due to Israeli Jews being unable to reach holy sites in Jerusalem's Old City during the Jordanian annexation of the West Bank 1948 to 1967, the Tomb of David was promoted as a place of worship, and the roof of the building above the cenacle was sought for its views of the Temple Mount, and thus became a symbol of prayer and yearning. The building, originally built as a church and later repurposed as a mosque, was split into two immediately following the end of 1947 to 1949 Palestinian War. The ground floor with the tomb was converted into a synagogue, and the Muslim cover on the tomb was replaced with an Israeli flag and then a parochette. From then onwards, the Israeli Ministry of Religious Affairs began the process of turning the site into Israel's primary religious site. Jewish prayer was established at the site, and Jewish religious symbols were added. From 1948 until the Six-Day War in 1967, it was considered the holiest Jewish site in Israel. The tomb compound includes the location traditionally identified as the cenacle or upper room, the original meeting place of the early Christian community of Jerusalem. Recent years have seen rising tensions between Jewish activists and Christian worshippers at the site. Early history. The tomb is located in a corner of a room situated on the ground floor remains of the former Hayat Zion, an ancient house of worship. The upper floor of the same buildings has traditionally been viewed by Christians as the cenacle or upper room, the site of the Last Supper. The site of David's burial is unknown, although the Hebrew Bible and the closely related Old Testament locate it southward in the city of David. In the 14th century CE, he and his father Jesse were believed to be buried in Bethlehem. The idea that David was entombed on what was later called Mount Zion dates to the 9th century CE. Zion, the place conquered by David, according to the books of Shmuel, was wrongly ascribed by medieval pilgrims to the site, and David was presumed to be buried there. Crusader and Franciscan control. Writing around 1173, the Jewish traveler Benjamin of Toledo recounted a colorful story that two Jewish workers employed to dig a tunnel came across David's original splendid palace replete with gold crown and scepter, and decided that the site must be his tomb. The Gothic cenotaph, preserved to this day, is the work of the Crusaders. In 1332, the Franciscans, the official representatives of the Roman Catholic Church in the holy places, after the final Muslim expulsion of the Crusaders, moved their headquarters to the cenacle, having acquired it in 1332 from Sultan An-Nasir Muhammad for 30,000 ducats. Mosque. According to Dominican pilgrim, in 1429, Mamluk Sultan Barsabi took part of the lower floor of the complex away from the Franciscans and converted the tomb chamber into a mosque. Though it was returned a year later, possession alternated back and forth until 1524, when Ottoman Sultan Sulaiman the Magnificent, expelled the Franciscans from the entire complex. The resulting Islamic shrine was entrusted to Sufi Sheikh Ahmad Dahani and his descendants. The tomb of King David is one of the most sacred sites of the Jews. Nonetheless, according to the researchers, there is no certainty that this is, in fact, King David's burial site. The Bible mentions that King David was born in the city of David, which is located at the foot of the Temple Mount. We know from the Bible that some of the kings were buried in a place called the Garden of Uzzah, but its location was not identified to this day. The tradition that locates the tomb of King David in the site was first documented in the 19th century by the Muslims and adopted over the years by many believers. The structure that contains the grave is actually the crypt, the underground hall of the Crusader Church. The building was renovated into its current shape during the 14th century by Franciscan monks, the custodians of the Holy Land. During the 16th century, the Franciscan monks were expelled by the Muslims, and the building became a mosque, serving for hundreds of years as a prayer house for Muslims who consider King David to be one of their prophets. Today, the site is visited mainly by Jews, and it's run in a synagogue model. The tombstone is in the interior room, which separate entrance for men and women. At the center of the room is a tomb covered by a cloth. On the back of the burial coffin, you can see an alcove in the wall, perhaps a remnant of an ancient synagogue which was mentioned in the Byzantine era as one of the 7 synagogues that were located on Mount Zion. In the past, colorful tiles decorated the walls when the place served as a mosque. These were Iznik tiles, named after the city in Turkey where they were manufactured 200 years ago. These tiles were shattered in an atrocious vandalism attack. On the floor, on the top of the tomb, there is a cenacle, one of the sacred sites of Christianity. The external courtyard on the exit from the tomb's compound to the left lays an interior courtyard surrounded by arches from the Franciscan monastery, which is used to occupy this place during the 14th century. This kind of a closed courtyard is characteristic of many monasteries in Europe known as cloisters. The courtyards were meant to provide a quiet and safe place for monks and priests who lived in the church compounds. The rooms have small windows and they were built behind the vestibule. The roofed halls provided shelter from the rain, and the access to the open air was through the main hall. A water well were dug under the courtyard. Located in an upper room of King David's tomb, the room of the Last Supper, also called the cenacle, is considered one of the holiest sites for Christianity in Jerusalem, since according to the tradition, it was the place where the Last Supper took place. The word cenacle is derived from the Latin word for dining room, in memory of the festive Passover meal which Jesus shared with his apostles on the eve of his death. According to the New Testament, gives Jesus, his student, wine, symbol of his blood, destined to be spilled, and distributed bread among them, probably a matzo, a symbol for his body, which would be sacrificed for the sake of his believers. In one of the hall's corners, under a small dome built above a staircase, stands a pillar with a decoration that depicts a pair of pelican fledglings peckling into their mother's heart. The female pelican, who is ready to sacrifice herself for their fledglings, symbolized in medieval Christian art Jesus' sacrifice for mankind. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.